Hey, good morning, Megan and Lauren. A lot of folks are reporting these issues. They're seeing these drones at night or early in the morning when the sun is not even up. Now, we got some new video from a viewer here at KTLA. However, this is causing some big problems on the East Coast, even shutting down a runway at New York's Stewart Airport. Well, this is a very big issue.
Moving lights. Okay, we love it. So what is this? I'm just hanging out.
So this new video from KTLA viewer Sharon shows what appears to be a drone over the San Fernando Gardens community. That was at 4 o'clock this morning when she sent that over to our newsroom, with multiple other sightings across our part of the country. A TikTok user captured video of possibly 5 drones in Riverside. They've been spotted in Temecula as well earlier this week. So exactly what's going on? Temecula is near Camp Pendleton, a military base, but the Marines say they're not involved. Riverside County Sheriff, well, he suggests the drones could be from Southern California Edison, which inspects power lines with drones. However, the utility company says they don't fly drones at night.
All right, we got to talk about this drone situation going on. So now there's new reports of sightings in California. It seems to be happening everywhere on the East Coast, New York, Pennsylvania, Virginia. I was going to hold off on doing a video about this, but this has been everywhere for days now. So I figure I'm kind of forced to talk about this because this is everywhere. This is all over my Instagram feed, all over my YouTube feed. So my main question here, of course, as well as everybody else's main question is, why doesn't the government have anything to say about this? These drones have been around military bases. They shut down an airport yesterday in New York. And the shutdown apparently lasted a long time. Check out the video.
More drone sightings force a local airport to shut down, the mounting frustration over the mystery in the sky. Good evening. I'm Jessica Moore. The number of drone sightings across the tri-state area has been growing over the last 2 weeks, with more than 3,000 reports in New Jersey alone. And with no indication the sightings are coming to an end, local and state officials are becoming increasingly impatient for answers. As Alicia Reed explains, they also want authorities to destroy any drones that may be considered a threat.
It's smooth sailing at New York Stewart International Airport Saturday night, unlike the nearly hour-long delay the evening prior after a drone in the airspace stopped all flights.
It's always a nuisance.
Drones have been spotted throughout the tri-state since mid-November. The FBI says they've received about 5,000 leads since then.
It's not good.
Only about 100 have led to action by the FBI. In a statement, Governor Kathy Hochul says in part, this has gone too far. She's calling on Congress to pass a bill that will strengthen the FAA's oversight of drones and give select state and local law enforcement agencies the right to detect, track, or even destroy unmanned aircraft systems, or UAS. New Jersey Congressman Chris Smith plans to introduce legislation that would authorize training for state police across the country to track and take down drones.
State police, probably a designated unit could be established, have real experts.
Over 50 local, state, and federal partners have engaged in the investigation, including the FBI, DHS, and FAA. A rep from the Department of Homeland Security says they're confident many of the sightings are manned aircrafts that are being misidentified as drones. The FAA says it is legal to fly a drone during the day or at night, as long as it's below 400 feet and isn't causing a hazard. But restricting airspace is a problem, and that happened here.
So you see these drones are flying in restricted airspaces, and the government doesn't seem to be addressing the issue. I would like to know, my second question is, where is Biden and where is Harris? Why is it like it's like a trend for this administration? Every time something happens, they like disappear. They come out a week later like, hey, we'll give you $750 a month to cover your suffering and emotional distress. But whenever it's something like from a foreign, something like Ukraine war or something like Israel, whatever, or something like, I don't know, just anything that's not in the U.S. seems like they get all the money that they want. But when something is going on here, they're MIA. They're gone. Always. It's like You can literally count on it that they will not be around when something happens here. So they also keep saying it's not a problem, it's nothing to worry about. I think a lot of people in the GOP, some of the senators over there, are talking about how it's some Iranian mothership. Like, what the hell? Like, where do they get this shit from, dude? So I believe the government's official statements have been something like they don't believe they don't believe that the drones are malicious and they're not from Iran. But I don't know how they would. But it seems like they don't know anything about the drone, so I don't know how they know they can tell us that. You know what I mean? It seems like they definitely know what it is or have some sort of idea what is going on.
Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, Mr. Secretary, thank you for joining us this morning. Can you clear up the confusion here?
Absolutely, George, and thank you very much for having me. There's no question that people are seeing drones, and I want to assure the American public that we in the federal government have deployed additional resources, personnel, technology to assist the New Jersey State Police in addressing the drone sightings. Some of those drone sightings are, in fact, drones. Some are manned aircraft that are commonly mistaken for drones, and we do see duplicative reporting. But there's no question that drones are being sighted. Let me set the record straight here, George. There are thousands of drones flown every day in the United States. Recreational drones, commercial drones. That is the reality. And in September of 2023, the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, changed the rules so that drones could fly at night. And that may be one of the reasons why now people are seeing more drones than they did before, especially from dawn to dusk. And so that is the reality. But I want to assure the American public that we are on it. We are working in close coordination with state and local authorities. And it is critical, as we all have said for a number of years, that we need from Congress additional authorities to address the drone situation. Our authorities currently are limited, and they are set to expire. We need them extended and expanded.
What exactly do you need?
We want state and local authorities to also have the ability to counter drone activity under federal supervision. That is one important element that we have requested, and we've heard it echoed by the state and local officials themselves.
So here we have Mayorkas in an interview saying that there was a rulebook change, which he believes prompted all these drones to be flying around at night. So I guess there was a rule change that allows all these drones to be, or just drones in general, to be flown at night. That doesn't really make sense to me, but he also doesn't really explain why these drones are flying around in restricted areas. But at the end of his answers, or the end of the video, he does talk about wanting or believing that he needs more power to, I guess, take down these drones. So he needs an extension of state powers to do his job. And my question is, like, I think he's the director of DHS. I don't know why that isn't your job already. Department of Homeland Security? Is that not what you're doing? Like, security? Like, why do you need more power? Like, this kind of is in your purview, right? Like, I don't get it. Why do you need more power? Shouldn't you be doing this already? All right, so there's this video circulating on TikTok of a CEO of a drone manufacturing company giving his opinion on what he thinks these drones are doing. Take a look.
Hey everyone, my name is John Ferguson. I'm the CEO of Saxon Aerospace here in Wichita, Kansas. I'm not normally a TikTok kind of a guy. I like watching this stuff every once in a while. But I'm a manufacturer of unmanned aircraft, military grade unmanned aircraft, as you can see one of my systems here. There's all of these mysterious drones going on off the East Coast, and as a professional, as a subject matter expert, I wanted to give you all my opinion on what I think could be going on with these drones. I don't particularly believe that these have a nefarious intent. I could be wrong, back in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan had dismantled the nuclear program, and there were, with Russia, there were countless nuclear missiles that were disarmed and disposed of. Well, there were over 80, I believe. There were over 80 nuclear warheads that were in Ukraine that came up missing. Okay, we don't know where they are. Maybe somebody does, but nobody really knows where these are. And I speak with some pretty high-level government officials on this stuff, and it seems as though that is the case. So I spoke to a gentleman a few months ago who was trying to raise an alarm to the highest levels of our government, which they had their ears closed, about this one particular nuclear warhead that he physically put his hands on. He physically touched this warhead that was left over from Ukraine. And he knew that that thing was headed towards the United States. Okay? That is a very serious deal. And everyone knows that the United States government, this administration, is pushing to get into a war with Russia. We all know that. We all feel it. We all see it. Okay? Well, back up a few years. Do y'all remember when those drones were mysteriously flying across the Interstate 70 corridor from Colorado up into Nebraska, down here into Kansas, and out into Missouri? Well, it was believed that those drones were looking for radioactive material because there had been some material that came up missing here in the United States, and they felt like it was high probability that the nuclear or the radioactive material would be taken along the Interstate 70 corridor heading east or west or south. So from what we understand, they were out there trying to find this radioactive material. Now, drones, they have no reason to be in the air at night unless you're doing some type of ISR work, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, looking for bad guys, or looking for a victim, a search and rescue victim, or law enforcement, or some type of military project, right? There's no reason for a drone to be flying at night, really, okay? Because they don't see shit. So, unless you have thermal optics, drones really don't see stuff. You need to do mapping during the day. If you're going to do farming stuff, you mostly do it during the day. The only reason why you would ever fly an unmanned aircraft at night, is if you're looking for something, whether it be a person or trying to smell gas. With this gentleman that I had spoken with, who was trying to raise the alarm to try to get somebody in the government to say, hey, we need to work together to go try to find this nuclear warhead, none of that ever happened. They knew that warhead was on its way to the United States. That's all that ever came of it. Nothing ever happened. This government did not do anything at all to help this gentleman raise the alarm and raise awareness that there is a very deadly weapon on its way to the United States. It's out there. Nobody knows where it's at now. It left Europe. Now it's gone. So my own guess, is that these drones are not nefarious in intent. If they are, they are, but I doubt it. But if they are drones, the only reason why they would be flying and flying that low is because they're trying to smell something on the ground. That's it. There's no other reason for a drone to be flying in the air other than to piss a bunch of people off at night.
All right, so basically in the video, he's saying that these drones are flying around at night close to the ground because they must be looking for something, because there's no reason why you would fly an unmanned drone at night, because you can't see shit unless you have probably night vision or thermals. he also talks about a missing nuke that was heading out of Europe that went missing. And I think he's trying to imply that these drones are looking for this missing nuke. So I guess they're sniffing for, I don't know, radiation or gas or something. That's scary. So I can't say for sure I believe everything he says. The only thing I can credit though is that he apparently speaks to some very high level government officials who may know what's going on. So the story could have some truth in it, and it could have a little bit of bullshit mixed in. I thought it was interesting that he tied in the fact that everyone knows that this current administration, is trying to trying to start a war with Russia. I mean, it's pretty obvious. They're pretty much doing everything they can to start a war with Russia, minus like going straight over there and bombing them and putting troops over there or whatever. But I'll tell you one thing. I would like to know where our fearless leader is and his assistant, because no one has seen them. I mean, I'm not even surprised. This is why she lost the election. Or this is why the Democratic Party lost the election, because no one actually voted for Kamala Harris. They actually just voted against Trump and for the Democratic Party. No one actually voted for Kamala Harris. Come on.